Hey guys, Ronnie here. Hope you're having a great Thursday. I am. I'm still on fall break, so things have been really good for me this week. Actually, just got back. I took my daughter out for lunch. She's off today, so we were able to spend a little time together. Went to a little place in my town called the Vintage Market. It's kind of an old-fashioned soda shop. We went there and just sat and ate lunch. And I really wanted a milkshake, but I didn't need it, so I stopped myself from getting that. But man, I really wanted that milkshake. It looked so good. Um, Today's video is one I've been wanting to make for a while, and I'm going to start this video. I'm going to preface it with saying that I had to pull in some statistics and actually have some notes here, and I'll have to look at my notes because I'm not great at memorizing things, but I'm not saying these numbers are 100% accurate, okay? I just want to give you a general idea. This is more like for creators and people that are thinking about getting into creating. I want you to just kind of have this general knowledge of YouTube. So these numbers may have changed a little bit, but that's not really the point of it. Um, Through my research, I found that for 2025, the estimate is that there are 115 million YouTube channels that have been created. Think about that, 115 million. So whenever you create a video and you push it out, that's how many choices that people have to choose from. So if anyone watches your video, that's awesome. We complain a lot of times about only getting a few views, and it hurts, but that's why. There are so many choices out there. But that's not really the most interesting part to me. The most interesting part is that statistics also show that of that 15 million, more than half, 70 million channels are inactive. Wow. 70 million channels of 115 are inactive. That means that someone had a great idea. They put it out there, put their heart and soul into it for just a little bit, and then they walked away from it. Or someone just started a channel just for fun and walked away from it. But that's a lot of channels that are inactive. That leaves around somewhere around 45 million active channels. And by active, they don't mean that they're, you know, posting every day, but at least someone's posting probably like once a month or something like that to keep the channel active. So 45 million active, but 70 million inactive. That just blows me away. So I wanted to dig a little bit deeper into those numbers. And of that 115 million, 104 million have less than 1,000 subscribers. And it's kind of that mark we all strive for, that first 1,000 subscribers. Just scratching to try to get to that point. But 104 out of 115 million have never reached that point. And that just shows you that if you have gotten to that point, you're really doing good, even if you think maybe sometimes you're not. You're beating the odds. You really are. And there's 10 million that have around 1,000 to 100,000 subscribers. 10 million channels have somewhere between 1,000 and 100,000 subscribers. That's kind of where I fall. That's kind of where a lot of the creators that I know fall. There's a group of people that get together on Sunday nights called the Fun Club. It's through Corey's comedy channel. Check us out if you ever want to do that. But most of us in that group fall in this range. There are some outliers, the people that have more than that, but the average is going to be somewhere with 1,000 to 3,000, somewhere in there, probably for most of us as a group. So even getting to that point, we may feel like, man, we're not doing that great, but we are. We are. We're starting to beat the odds. We really are. Now there's somewhere around out of that 115 million, 320,000 are in the 100,000 to a million to 1 million mark, and we have some channels that in the Fun Club at somewhere around 150,000 subscribers. So that's really awesome. Chrissy is the person who has that channel. It's Brain Venter's Banter, if I'm saying that exactly right. But I get tongue tied on that. But anyway, she falls in that mark. 320,000 channels. That's not that many, and she's in there. Man, that's awesome. You're really killing it there. Now here's the kicker: of that 115 million, only 20,000 reach the million and million plus mark. That's the pinnacle. These are the big channels that are out there. But even though it seems like, that's everyone, when you turn on YouTube, because you're seeing the suggested channels, the big channels, the ones that are suggested the most, and you think, man, these people have reached it, but it's a very small portion ever get to that, to that point on YouTube, of having that 1 million subscribers. So, for those of us who are just kind of getting by down here in the 1,000 to 100,000, we're doing pretty good. We really are. I don't think you're not. So I kind of wanted to think a little bit about why are there so many inactive channels out there, you know? And I found a list of some things. I'm going to kind of talk about those. And one thing is low growth. People start a channel and it doesn't do what they think it's going to do. You know, they think it's going to get subs, get views, you know, it's going to kick off really quickly and things are going to be great. And when that doesn't happen, they get disheartened, you know, and they kind of, they think, well, I just don't have a shot at all. And instead of sticking it out, they just walk away from it. And I'm going to say that's where most of that 70 million, um, that's what's happened to these people. They started a channel, they thought it's going to be easy. It turned out to be a little bit hard, and they just walked away from it. The second one is time versus reward. Any creator out there that's watching this knows the amount of time you put into YouTube. People think you just sit down, make a little quick video, and post it, and you're done for the day. There's a lot more to YouTube than that. You know, there's editing, there's research, there's uh, getting the video ready to post. You know, watching your analytics if you do that kind of thing, and then also trying to you know, network with other creators and seeing what's out there. You know, you've got to kind of do that also. So it's not just it's not quickly done. It takes a lot of time and effort, and you can also get lost in that if you're not careful. So that time versus reward for some people is just not there, and they fall into that 70 million. They decide to walk away from it. There are algorithm changes that happen. Maybe you started out in a niche, you know, at that point the algorithm was very much supporting what you were doing, you know, and as time's gone on, so many channels have started doing the same thing that people started watching that less and less, and maybe the algorithm has shifted and it's kind of left you, you know, left you holding the bag there. That happens a lot too to people trying to, you know, the content you started out with maybe is not as popular now as it was when you started at the beginning. Monetization thresholds. I think this is one of the biggest things that's probably holding people back. Getting 4,000 watch hours on YouTube is so tough. You know, just making 5, 6 minute videos, just think about how many you have to make to get to that point. A good friend Corey from Corey's Comedy Channel tells me all the time, Ronnie, you got to do live streams. And that's what helped him reach the threshold. Yeah, I know that. But for a lot of us, I think a lot of you that are out there that are like me, uh, that's a little bit of a scary thing, you know. Like it's easy for me to sit here and make this video, and if I mess up, I can start over. But I know if I put myself out there live, that there is no starting over, you know, and that's something for me I struggle with. I want to get to that point, but I'm just not comfortable getting there yet. Another one might be community violations. People get strikes on their channels, and it could be taken down or even taken away from them. And I'll share a personal story there. The first channel I ever created, and I still have it, it just falls more into these inactive channels at the Corny Joke channel. And I posted a lot of jokes and just kind of funny things there. And I was making a video one time, and I used some footage from a Disney creator. It was just a clip of them walking, I think, through the park, and I was going to put a joke inside of that. Didn't really think a lot about it at the time, but I ended up getting a strike for that, for reusing their content. I didn't mean anything bad by it, and I feel bad I even did it now, but I had to pay the price for that. There was a 90-day term that came along with that strike. And also, when the strike happened, I feel like I also got shadow banned. That's something I want to talk about in another video. But my videos went from getting decent views just down to nothing for a while, and it really disheartened me, and I almost walked away from YouTube over it at that time. But ended up sticking around and you know coming back with a different kind of channel. But I had to pay the price for that 90 days, and then just kind of moved on. And but it was kind of a hard thing to deal with there. And the last one I think I would mention is just life events. You know, maybe you start a YouTube channel, you're really into it, but something happens. You know, maybe you get married, maybe you move to another town, get a new job, have a child. You know, just things in life that come along and they just take the front seat, and YouTube has to take the back seat. And maybe you just have to walk away from it a while. Maybe that's why that channel becomes inactive. But there's a lot of different things out there that can happen. I think the biggest thing is you have to decide, is this something I'm in for the long haul? You know, because YouTube is that person. So if you're one of these 20,000 who've made it to the pinnacle, man, that's awesome. You know, but if you're one of these that's still trying to reach 1,000, you know, I'm more talking to you. Hang in there because you can get there eventually. You know, I think you just got to keep working at it. Now, I'm not the one that's going to come on here like some channels do and just say, um, you know, do these couple of things and you're going to be a big success on YouTube. You may not be a big success, but you have to determine what success means to you on YouTube. And is it right for you? You know, are you okay with going for several years and not being monetized and not getting any money? Or is that something you just don't want to put the time and effort into and you want to walk away from it and be one of these 70 million channels? So I really was very interested in this topic today. I hope you might have got a little something out of it. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. And until next time, we'll catch you later.